Welcome to Project Pack number 27. My name is Martha.
And I'm Molly.
Hi, Molly.
How are you?
I am great. This is so fun to be doing this together.
I know. Here we are again, number 27. This time we're focusing on a system in the Zentangle Method we call reticula and fragments.
Oh, it's just endless possibilities.
It really is. And even though it's about like grids, we really take this outside the box. So you kind of lose sight of what a traditional grid is and start to see that this really is a fun way to create patterns. This particular project pack comes with some really great materials. We're working with a custom book that we've designed just for this project.
It's a beautiful book. Gorgeous paper, amazing inspirational designs.
So awesome. And if you don't have a project pack, then we encourage you to use whatever you do have at home. And of course, you can purchase these project packs with at zentangle.com. And it is great that all of the purchases of a Zentangle project pack does support the production of these these
we
videos.
really appreciate it.
We really do. So thank you for that. And before we get started, Martha, what do you say we take a breath?
Yeah, let's take a minute.
Give yourself a minute to perhaps close your eyes. Maybe find a focal point. Find your breath. Just focus on something you're grateful for in this moment. Felt good. Just
ready to get started?
I think so. So as you can see, we're starting off with this fatter gray micron, and I'm kind of looking at this wave-like string here and just finding some spaces to work within, and that middle spot seems so inviting to just orb up. So I'm just going to start working with some orbs. And I've really will be focusing on orbs in this page altogether. It's really like, how do you create a reticula or a grid work using only orbs? And so that's really where we're at here. And this string really already provides sort of some channels, right? These like kind of long spaces for me to fill with orbs. So I figured, why don't I kind of spend some time creating that infrastructure first, and then see what kind of circular fragments I can fill in there.
I really love the fact that this kind of juicy gray pen mimics the string that is there. It's kind of already a magic trick just watching it like that.
It's a fun way to play with that sort of like the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So now I'm finding sort of the next sort of channel in this wave-like thing that's going on, and then again sort of spiraling out with these orb shapes and sort of watching how they kind of one falls a little bit behind the other.
It's not really a full circle. It is sort of tucking. Each one is tucking behind the one before it.
Exactly.
Gives a different effect.
And just filling it all the way to the edge. So this last channel, to me, I went to go start filling it with orbs, and I realized I felt like it was really too big. And so what I'm doing is dividing it in half. And this kind of longer part felt easier for me to divide it in half first, and then I was going to go kind of do the hook afterwards. Kind of playing around with
just going right down the middle.
Yep, and it doesn't have to be perfect because it's, like we said, it's infrastructure.
Right.
And it really doesn't have to be perfect anyway, so. But really the goal was to sort of divide that last space in half because it was just a little too big for what I was looking to do. And I think it's cool to sort of show people how, like, even though we're working with these, sort of pre-drawn lines, they're really there as like a guide, so you can change them. And again, what you said about the pen, it really allows for that space without, it kind of looks like an extension of it.
This part in particular is very meditative. It's not too challenging. We're kind of just following along with this channel that's right there. It's kind of easy to get lost in it.
And it's a pattern within itself, right? Mm-hmm. So even this alone, I think, is pretty cool looking. So it almost is like an inky pencil.
Mm-hmm. I love when, you start to sort of retrace some lines and it starts to create, another little pattern that's developing. things that your eyes are drawn to.
So now I'm going to visit these other sort of channel spaces that are down below. They kind of curve in the opposite direction. But again, each time I start from that center point and watch the orbs like grow.
It's very nautical.
It is naughty. It really is. Just take your time, sort of breathing your way through it. These booklets are fun. I enjoy sort of having these like little keepsakes, you know, that are all mine. It's sort of a...
Yeah, and I was thinking too that it's just nice to have a bit of a sacred space as well. Like, so you can put it down and put it away somewhere safe and
Yeah, and it sort of like wraps up the whole series, you know, of like working on a project pack. You have everything in one place. So just a fun little, it's almost like journaling.
it is, and it travels well.
Yeah. And the theme of reticulate fragments is really fun. It's almost like I felt like when I was doing this, it was almost like I was a scientist and I was collecting like specimens and then kind of like noting my research down here. So I am spending time putting in the coloring in the interstices to create this layer of, I think, again, my foundation here before I even add any fragments. It's actually, I love it all by itself.
Yeah, it's starting to look very web-like.
Mm-hmm. And as you can see, I'm sort of adding what we call love here, just sort of redefining some of the orb shapes, sculpting, redefining the edges, and just turning my work this way and that to see like where else do I need to add in. So this is a great sort of just like foundation.
It really is beautiful in itself.
So now I'm over here working on these, what I want to call specimens, you think? They're like little
Sure.
scientific specimens. And that's what I love about this book is like on one side we have sort of what the fragment looks like by itself and then what it looks like when you put it in a composition. So it's a fun way to like gather information. In fact, you could have like a bunch of these books, you know, kind of like.
Of course, yeah. Do them different each time.
Yeah.
Slightly different.
So I am working with the black pen now, the O1, and I put that little like kidney bean shape at the top, and now I'm sort of playing around with like sort of how like Fife or even a little bit how mirth would work, you know, like sort of these lines coming off this little kidney bean shape, and they're like sort of straight, but like sort of not.
Mm-hmm. I like how they're weighted there on one side.
Yeah. Just adding a little ink to one side to create that sort of like suction cup. Now these are very involved fragments. It's
I was
not
just
like,
about to say, this is an investment in time.
it is, yeah. And I think with a lot of these lessons in this particular project pack, people will notice that like we edit down the videos because of the repetition, but just know that like it also took us a long time to create all of these drawings. So you might pause your video or take a breath or watch some and then go back later.
Time that you give yourself.
It is. It's a gift, truly a gift. It's a little fun one. And we'll revisit these, but I love doing them first here so that you can see. And this was just like dividing the circle in half with a cross or an X, however you want to say it, and then doing these little auras that create this like sort of mesmerizing bit.
Mm-hmm.
A little weighting in the middle there. A little weight always kind of brings something to the composition. Oh, there we go.
I love this fragment.
Right? And it's really gonna teach us to like narrow in on that anything is possible, one stroke at a time, in deliberate strokes, because you're really having to focus in on that one fragment and sort of just trust that when they all come together, you really can see how they morph and change when they're in that sort of bigger picture.
I like this process of kind of practicing your fragment over here and then applying it to the bigger portion on the other side.
This one's a little tricky. You put that triangular shape in and then pull out the lines from each side, sort of create this sort of almost like shutter, like in a camera, you know, like how it kind of creates that folding in itself, and then just aura and then the lines out. But I do love that fragment. One more. And I'm outlining these gray shapes again just to like bring some definition to it. Nice little printemps spiral there. And I actually like spiraling from the outside in on those spirals, whereas usually when I'm drawing printemps, I'll spiral from the inside out. Little note.
I don't know, it's kind of interesting to practice both ways and just see where your comfort is.
Yeah.
So you're outlining each shape.
I am.
Black pen.
Exactly, because I think it creates like an interesting depth next to the gray. So this little kidney bean shape. And these are, you know, really simple fragments, but, I mean, simple in a way that they're like, you know, basic strokes, but I find them to be not just basic, right? They're like, there's a lot to them. And so they take a lot of time, and this is the place to do it, right? We're like focusing in on reticular and fragments, so why not do a fragment that's more, right? So here we have something that's definitely more.
And it's not a race, you know, so just focus on one fragment at a time and enjoy that process. However your pace is for today is the right pace.
Agree with that, Martha. And there's no need to like, you know, try to like get them all in there, you know. It's like we're just seeing what it looks like that one. And we have these beautiful fine pens to create these gorgeous detailed compositions. So take your time. Yeah, I like the way the black ink creates this like other layer. So I was playing around with like having that gray underneath to sort of create dimension.
Well, you use the 10 in the gray, and now you have an 01, so there's that wiggle room in the middle there.
Yeah. It's almost like the gray becomes like mortar, or you know,
a shadow too.
Yeah, like when you're tiling your floor and you got all the stuff in between it. Grout. That's right.
I'm really enjoying the quality of your lines. You know, I think you're sort of allowing your pen to glide across the paper in a way that's not forcing it to be perfectly straight. It's just kind of on its own little journey, and it gives it such a neat quality.
Yeah, agreed. I think it brings a little life to your work, you know, and a lot of that happens when you just like ease up the grip on your pen and just let it sort of be. You're guiding it, you're not pushing it, right? That like lessening that sort of like, oh, look how fun.
It is really fun.
Love that.
And these books are a great size. You can still turn them as you work, just as you would turning your tile. And it's important because we need to change our perspective sometimes.
So I think starting with like a big orb is helpful. So I think that is why I skipped the other one, is because sometimes if you try to start on one of the half ones, you're like not really cued into like how it would be like chopped off.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's start this one a little bit here, and then we can go back and revisit that other space after.
I agree. I like doing a fragment that's sort of the full expression, and then you adapt, you know, as the fragment space itself kind of gets a little wonky depending on your reticula.
Right. Always comes back to crescent moon, really.
I know. I was just thinking how it's always nice to include an iconic tangle, crescent moon being the one here, with a little adaptation, a little flair, I guess.
Right. And I divided this up into just the 3 sort of like radiating lines, but you could do more if you wanted your orbs to be smaller. This is a nice pattern to use here, or fragment to use here, because it's sort of like orb within an orb.
Fractal.
Right.
And orbs are so kind of valuable because really all they do is create space, right? So you're creating space to maybe later shade in or highlight, or just to be something that opposes some drama.
Right, exactly. And, as we said earlier, just take your time with these where it's a lot of repetition, but like it's a great opportunity to zone into what you're doing and get lost. I know I did. I was just like, whoa, what happened to the day? This was just like a great way for me to like get lost for a minute and then, move on to the next one. And you will definitely have to pause the video so that you can do these at your own pace. I love the way the black ink really does anchor that one.
Mm-hmm.
Really fun. And as you get closer to where it starts spiraling in, it's almost like kind of guessing how it might go, and then just creating like a sort of I guess a suggestion of what might be happening.
And it's not like anyone will notice that the ones in the middle are different than the ones on the outer edge. Oh, don't forget the last one.
I know, revisiting that one, right? So yeah, it's easier to go back and do this one after, where you can kind of imagine what it might be like when it gets a little smushed like that. Coming along.
Really pretty.
So fun.
Take a deep breath.
Take a break. Wiggle your fingers. Relax. Go get a drink, maybe. I thought that one was really fun. This is, I feel like we played with this fragment a lot, but it's just always fun.
But not in an orb-like fragment shape. I think it's a little unique.
Yeah.
With the angles inside the round shape.
And notice I'm putting like a little arc that mirrors the sort of the arc of the orb, just a little one. And then it's all about the aura.
Yeah, focusing on those aura spaces and trying to keep the distance somewhat consistent helps with the overall effect.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And it's pretty cool actually without the weighting. But why not add a little detail, right?
It reminds me of a book that I used to take out of the library when I was little, and it was all about optical illusions, and it was like one of my favorite books when I was about 8 years old.
So fun.
And it had all types of drawings of images like this, and I thought they were fascinating, and they would make your eyes kind of dance.
Right. Well, so much of Zentangle is like that, making your eyes dance, right?
Mm-hmm. Sort of like the Tangle floors, but then it's echoing outward.
Definitely. And another thing with this particular fragment is you could put weighting on all 4 sides or just one side or just do the 2 sides like we're playing around with.
Yeah, that actually looks really cool.
Yeah. I always encourage people to remember that the cross goes this way now that you've done one, because like if you look at that, all you see is an X and you might think, I draw an X. So really pay attention to where that initial cross goes in. And it might be that you draw all of the crosses first and then go back and do all of the auras. People have different processes when they're working in fragments. You don't necessarily have to do the whole fragment like I'm doing. So here you can see I made a artistic choice here where I decided to weight the space kind of going in the opposite direction.
You can already kind of see what's going to happen here, right? Like a zigzag meta pattern.
And then, of course, as you get closer to the middle here, you're kind of like pretending it's so teeny. What do you do? But I think even taking your time on that expression helps the bigger picture as you kind of finish up.
That's a big orb.
It's a big one, yeah. And I'm only saying this out loud because I think it's important for people to notice. There is a place where I accidentally put the weighting going out of order, and you can't even tell. It's like, I mean, I'm going to point it out and I'm going to tell you that, but like if you accidentally put your weighting going out of order, just keep going. Like, don't worry about it because it isn't that big a deal. You're working with pen and paper, these beautiful patterns. And I think sometimes the unexpected things really do make the piece feel more approachable, more interesting, more creative, and all of those things. So, like, I know it's hard in the moment because you're like, oh, I messed up, or oh, I didn't mean to do that. But honestly, I think in the big picture, it becomes part of, like, your amazingness. So
I think what you say is, oh, that looks awesome.
I know, it looks so good, yeah. So, really fun. But I remember I, too, like, in the moment was like, oh, I can't do it all over. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not going to do this all over. This looks beautiful. It's gorgeous. I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to share people with my journey and how it went, you know?
Again, outlining in the black.
Yeah, so it's like you can switch up your process. It looks like I went around and did all of the orbs first. And the triangles.
Yeah, I think it is fun to play around with process, as you were saying. You can get different levels of satisfaction also when you kind of spread out the elements of the fragment as opposed to completing each one. After all, we just want to have a good time while we're doing this.
Oh my goodness, right? That's what it's all about. I think with this one in particular, it's helpful because I wanted to have these going all in the same direction, so to do one at a time like this was helpful. Also, it was less turning of my tile because I was working with things that were all in the same direction.
Just following along that three-sided shape.
And an easy way, like for me when I'm doing this fragment, is like you're going to go on the left side, the left side, the left side as you draw, you know, so you kind of turn, go on the left side. I mean, that's how I did it, but everybody has a different process. Well, this fragment does come together pretty easily, but it's like, which one do I go with? So it's like, and I'm not turning my tile that much right now, but like if you turn your tile, then you can always sort of have it so the line's coming off the same angle. Play around with it. Oh, changing it up here a little bit. And instead of doing the sort of parallel aura-ing lines with the black pen, I'm going to use this gray pen just to add a different layer to it, you know?
I think a good thing to think about when you're doing this, if you're not sure which lines you're supposed to aura, you're going to be auraing the long lines, not the short lines. So on the outside of your triangle there,
oh, you're going to aura.
You're auraing the line that's the longest, not the short segment. Because it can get a little confusing when you're just looking at it without those aura lines. Like, where do I begin?
That is a good fragment to play around with first.
Yes.
once you get the hang of it, you're good. So I have sort of these 3 spaces. Oh, adding a little weighting here. Actually, you know what's crazy is adding love really in life and on your tile. It makes a huge difference.
Right. It's like holding the door open for someone.
Oh, yes. It means a lot, right?
Or asking, how'd you sleep last night?
Oh, I love that. It's just those little things. You're just kind of going back in and refolding things or adjusting things. Makes a difference, though. You're almost like revisiting it, too, just to be like, how did that go? You know, let me go.
I'm not done with this experience yet.
So anyway, as I was saying, these last 3 orbs, they sort of seem to have like their own identity, like aside from the rest of it, you know, they kind of live down here. They almost seem like the underwave, the underbelly of the wave, shall we say. Did you see this as a wave, or did you see it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, I am the mother of surfers, so
It's true. Lots of waves
I was
going
seeing the
on.
opportunities there.
Yeah. So again, with these spirals, I started from the outside because I wanted to mimic the outside shape of the orb. And then just taking my time, surfing my way through these.
Yes. You joke, but surfing is a very meditative sport, as I have only witnessed from the shoreline. But
Right.
there is a lot of waiting around.
There is, yes.
Waiting for the perfect wave. But it's a good time to think.
Good though, Martha. And again, I chose to use the same fragment on these 3 because they sort of felt like they lived on their own. Really playing around with the sort of overlapping feature here.
Simple spirals.
Right. But take your time, get lost in these fragments. It's nice to be like, okay, I'm doing this for a bit, so I carry on.
I love how you're using ink as almost as you would with graphite, kind of really making that part of it fall behind.
Yep, a little bit of weighting just to really emphasize that overlapping. Well, it looks like we got all our fragments in.
Ooh.
But you know me, Martha, we're like halfway done.
This is true.
I do love sort of like the after bits, the adding love and the shading and all of that. So right now I'm just going back in and trying to like add some finishing details. I really loved using the gray pen as sort of this foundation or underlying structure. And so now I'm trying to like kind of close it up, bring it together using the micron, almost like outlining that gray.
Really holds it together when you do the perimeter like that.
And I really wanted to take advantage of those slight imperfections in the line, a little bumpiness, the weighting that we put in earlier. And then trying to bring some emphasis to the spiral right there. So and yours will be a little different than this, obviously. So just kind of pay attention to how yours is coming together. So beautiful even without the shading.
Well, again, that gray pen kind of offers that quality, but with a little bit more richness than graphite.
Exactly. So I'm going in with the blue pencil first, and that's another thing I love about project packs is we pick a palette, and the palette not only provides a elegance of limits to what we're doing to our process, but it also like builds this cohesive body of work. So when you're looking through it, it almost like they go together, and I think that's really fun because it not only like offers you this opportunity to really like dig into what you can do with a specific group of supplies, but also like it shows you how it can look in different lights. So just playing around with this great pastel pencil, a nice light blue color, almost like I think flirts with the gray bit about a little bit, you know?
Yeah, it smooths out beautifully with the tortillon.
And then just taking your graphite pencil around the edge near where those weighted lines are and kind of create some dimension with this fragment right along the edges. So again, lots of work here. Like this isn't for the faint of heart. Like we're gonna be like spending a little time just putting a little darkness around the edges.
It's very satisfying, though.
I think
worth the effort.
I agree.
Totally worth it.
And fragments and reticula, and actually most of Zentangle is all about repetition. And I think it's in that repetition that we find that flow state and kind of get lost. So sit back, find a comfortable place to tangle, and really just enjoy that like autopilot, right?
Yeah, this is why we're here.
And I always like to keep that, see how I like really didn't touch that one part of the fragment to get that sort of highlight. And I put a little bit of this white pencil on there, but I found that it didn't really make a difference. So I think the real effect was in like just leaving it, you know?
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't pick up on the camera also.
Right. But I think the real important part is to like sort of not touch a bit of it, you know? And I can't help myself, so I'm usually like adding a little more.
You can always add more, you just can't take it away.
It's true. Yeah. So again, it looks as if I did that really fast, but we've edited through the detail of every single one. And also, like, you can see those bits where I didn't add any graphite. So I think it's important to leave some unshaded because it adds nuance and highlights, natural highlights. Isn't that what all the ladies say? Natural highlights. Just kind of inviting that blue into the paper first. I do like to do that. I mean, I suppose you could wait, but I do think it affects how you're going. Like if you take your time to really work the tortillon each time. And you also might choose a different way to do this. Like you might look at it and be like, you know what, I want to try shading it this way. And you can actually, you know, explore a little one of those fragments on another piece of paper and play around with it.
Or vary the color. Maybe you're just feeling a little yellow today.
You have a yellow pencil.
Yeah.
Never know.
But I think the blue is really, really stunning.
Yeah, so fun. And some people like to lay down all the graphite and then use the tortillon. You can kind of play around with that. I tend to be somebody who like does a little bit and then buffs a little bit out because I get so eager to see how it's going to look. But there's different ways to do it.
And with this slightly larger surface that we're working on, you always want to be mindful on the side of your hand when you've got a lot of graphite going on.
Oh my goodness, yeah. There's a lot of graphite there already.
You were waiting to do that one.
I was.
Just wanted to do that.
Get it dark in there. And sometimes just adding in one color changes everything up. You're like, it adds another layer to the shading process. And play around with it. So here I am actually playing around with that zigzag that was created by kind of altering the way I put the weighting in. I'm playing with that as like a place to fill, which is kind of fun.
Love how the meta pattern of those layering orbs comes out as kind of its own square there. You can see it as they join together.
Totally. And this time I'm kind of playing around with what would happen if I shade more of this top, you know, like sort of a little bit because the blue was on the bottom, like what happens here? And what's kind of awesome about Zentangle is there's no light source, so you're kind of able to mess with it and not worry about, where the light's coming from or where the shadow has to be. It's like you get to pick it, invent it. Almost there. And seeing like the shaded and unshaded, now you're like, oh wow, that really does sort of start to bring it to life. I love process shots. Oh, looks like I couldn't help myself. Had to go back. I do take shading to like another level. It's something that like brings me as much joy as the tangling process, and that might be you as well. So it looks like I enjoyed that sort of one side being a little darker. So I'm like, I'm going to go back in and do that a little bit more. And this is like information you get from like taking your book or a tile and putting it arm's length away from you. I did really like the way the blue looked on top of the gray stripes.
Yeah, it really shows up.
Yeah, so fun. And even like all the little details we've put in this far start to kind of come together. The taking our time to weight things. And then playing with how these overlap is fun too. I mean, this is fragment and reticula craziness going in and really shading each fragment. It's so fun.
Well, the oversized options here are what makes this possible. That looks so good.
Right? Really fun. It's like the pen becomes this, magic wand. Getting there, little bits here and there, and just reminding you to take your time, take a breath, take a break.
And then take your pencil and shade a little bit more.
Martha, they can do whatever they want. I am here to provide the buffet of shading. By the time you're done, you're going to have so much pencil in your book. Yeah. You're going to need a little slip sheet to
yes,
protect.
Perhaps that's a good idea.
Yeah. I like to do that in my books, though, for real. I like to get like a little piece of copy paper or something, like almost like in a fine art book where you'd get, there'd
like
be
a tissue.
Like a little tissue.
Yeah.
Maybe you need white gloves to open it up the next time you do. This is a little fun, just really pushing the blue onto one side of those spirals. They look very shell-like there. So fun.
Barnacles.
Mm-hmm. And just because I like to add a little drama.
Oh boy, this takes some bravery.
But I think it's fun.
Yeah.
And you know what?
It feels a little naughty.
Because I'm doing this, you get to see what it looks like, and you get to choose if you want to do it as well. But
that's true. You're giving him an option.
I am always, but I like to push the envelope on these things and really show you what can happen. I never know what I'm gonna do. It's like just never know.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Pretty amazing. With simple fragments,
right? Little circle.
Well, not that simple.
So many layers too, just so many layers. Going back and like those original lines that were there for me. Just spending and you guys don't have to spend this much time shading, but that's what's great about a video. You get to choose. But look at the difference. I just went back in with like a really dark bit of graphite, and it's like bringing it again to the zenth dimension over here. And it is fun to see like somebody else take those chances before you, because you can decide to do it or not.
And it's no secret here that this pencil is now at the perfect shading sharpness. You know how when you get it just perfect and the graphite's coming out so smooth. But wait, there's more.
I know. I do this a lot with my work. It's like going back in after shading because some of the black has gotten so dull. So I like just putting in a little bit of pen strokes right at the end to sort of tie it all together. I'm not afraid of lots of layers with my work. This paper did a good job handling all the materials. You never know, it's like how many materials you're going to put down, but like there's a lot of layers here. So it was nice. And this also is like the lines weighted funky, so you're getting a little more shadow and kind of dimension.
So great.
Okay, I think I'm finally done, Miss Martha.
Add your chop. Hold it at arm's length and appreciate. Thank you so much for tangling with us.
Oh, thanks for coming along for this little swim. That was fun, Martha.
Hope to see you soon.
Take care.